It's the 15th of July. I just want to do a quick greenhouse update on how things are looking, because if you remember to my very first video, this year was a test. This year was a test of how things would go and grow if I sowed things a lot later. I usually sowed my tomatoes and cucumbers on the windowsill of the house, first weekend in March. And this year, I think I waited till near in April, I think it was, before I sowed them. And I actually sowed them direct outside in the greenhouse. And I wanted to see if by doing that, my tomatoes and cucumbers would be ready around the same time, so I can eat them both together on a salad. Now, I had a bad start. The compost didn't work very well. They looked poorly. I had to pot them on and repot them using some better stuff, and they recovered. And to cut a long story short, because you can go back and watch the other videos, this is what they look like now. And if you do a comparison to what they look like through the different months, this is unbelievable. Big, strong, healthy plants, and there's 3 per grow bag, which doesn't seem to have impacted them whatsoever. Obviously, as we're seeing now, we're getting a lot of fruit on there. Nothing near ripe yet, but I will start taking off the lower leaves as we get closer to that time. And I'm doing the daily, taking the side shoots off, and as they reach the very top here, nip the tops out, because I've got that many tomato plants. I don't need them to keep going past the roof, so that is fine. And all of them look good. All of them look healthy. Obviously, I've got multiple different varieties: Black Moon, Moneymaker, Sun Gold. So we'll see how they all perform and how they all do as the weeks go on. And the trays underneath the grow back as well have been fantastic. I mean, as everybody knows, in the UK it's been absolutely boiling for the last month, and they've really helped keep the plants healthy. I did used to water just once a week. Normally I would in a normal summer, once a week with feed, but it's been twice a week, 3 times a week with this weather. Still just do them feed once a week, which is just bog standard tomato food. On this side again, tomatoes looking really healthy. You can see a little bit where they curl over as the heat rises, and then as we get towards the evening, they kind of come back around and stand up again. But that's just natural. That's just part of the plant trying to protect itself with the sunshine. Most important thing is the green. Look green. There's not a lot of yellowing on leaves, and they're the things to keep an eye on. But again, they look good. Obviously, that tomato plant there is a hanging basket variety, so that's completely different. And then the thing that's impressed me, and I'm so thankful for, is the cucumber. Now I'm in the middle here, just tying some of that plastic fencing up to the top of the greenhouse here, so I can grow them up and over. But my first cucumbers came off today, and that's Carmen, and that is why I like Carmen. Good, solid cucumbers, really tasty, really sweet, and they're so easy to grow. And this plant here has recovered because it did get attacked a little bit. There's another one down there at the moment, which is not going straight. Actually, it's going a bit bent, but that's fine. It doesn't not matter in the slightest. I think it's actually because, look at it there, it's leaning on the wire. Well, that's fine. And then this plant right beside it here, which I thought was not going to make it because it had nearly all of its leaves eaten off by slugs or snails, has recovered. And yeah, like I say, I was going to put 3 in, but 2 is more than enough. So yeah, this should, once I've tied all this in up here and give a frame to climb up over, I'm hoping this works. I'm hoping it means I'll have cucumbers still growing when the tomatoes are ripened, unlike last year where the cucumbers are all finished by the time the tomatoes ripened. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I just thought I'd give an update there. I'll just step back here so you get a view from the doorway. And I'm extremely pleased with how that's gone. Now, I'll show you what's happening with the hanging basket varieties, which I've moved outside here. Now these obviously are a bit nuts because you don't take off the side shoots. And you've got to put canes in, you've got to try and tie them up so they all don't fall over and fall off. And I'm going to have to put some string round. But these are the 3 out here, and they're doing really well. Look really healthy. See here that starting to tangle into each other a little bit, and you're trying to keep moving things around. But look, easily flop. They can easily flop. They can easily break off. There you go. And you can see there's loads of tomatoes on, and these will turn into like a little cherry. But the taste similar to Gardener's Delight, but not as sweet. So yeah, I will track the progress of these as we continue on, but I do need to get some string on them and get them tied in. Now, the other ones, just to do a comparison. Right, blocking the camera with my hand here. Now, look at this difference in size. Now that's a hanging basket variety. That's a hanging basket variety. And this is a spare tall tomato. I'm not sure what that is. It's just a spare one I had. And then I had a little tiny one that had self-seeded itself in another pot. I think a seed must have fell in. So I've put that there to grow outside. Now, how strange that growing them outside like that in these raised beds has meant less growth, but still full of tomatoes. But they're not as tall as the other ones around the back of the same plant. So it'd be interesting to see what happens here as time goes on. It's unfortunate I don't know what the variety is. I collected this. It's not an F1 because I collected the seeds from previous year. Squashed some tomatoes on some kitchen roll, let them dry out, and they've all grown back from that. But I just had it written down, hanging basket cherry red. So yeah, but that's where we are as of the 15th of July. Now I just wanted to add to the end of this video what they look like 7 days later, 8 days later. So this is a week after I filmed the original video, and since then I've removed a couple of leaves, just lower down, just to let a bit of light in the fruits. I've nipped out a couple of the tops, put a few bungee cords in to hold them upright. I've confirmed that what I thought I put in each bag has actually worked. So them 3 bags are sun gold. So they are all sun gold, which is great, because there was a bit of confusion with a few labels missing. These 3 bags here are Moneymaker. I say bags, 3 in a grow bag, sorry. They're Moneymaker. These 3 here are Black Moon. And the hanging basket variety to the right of that 3 there, and then the 2 cucumbers. But I just want you to see, obviously I've tied up this mesh, and you can see how quickly that cucumber is climbing up. You can also see how quickly it's getting fruits on. And the one beside it, just here, look at the growth, look at the difference in the growth in the space of a week after having another week of this heat. So that just shows you how fast things are growing. But yeah, again, I just have to emphasize, all of this would probably be dead, or definitely suffering a lot more yellowing leaves than what we have here if it wasn't for this roof and using the shade. Again, you can buy that off Amazon, special shade for the greenhouse. But yeah, this is definitely the best ever year I've had for cucumbers and tomatoes, without a doubt. And just to top it off, I'll just quickly show you the outside one so you can see the difference there. all tied in now. More growth, more fruit. That middle one's been moved into a tray. Water capture trays are so important, especially in this heat. Again, these are looking really healthy outside, no issues whatsoever. You see the nice colouring on the black moon there. So yeah, that shows the grow difference within 7 or 8 days.